Any problems in the assignment part?
Sir, this is Chandni. I messaged you yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sir, can I submit both the assignments today's and yesterday's by tonight?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Anshu this side. Actually, yesterday's and today's one I've submitted, sir, but the day one's assignment is still pending. I
Okay.
think that was not shared on the Google collab link like you shared for yesterday and day before yesterday. So can that also be shared, the Google collab link for day one assignment?
Mm-hmm. I shared yesterday, I think. But still, this is for the day one. See, this one is for the day one. You can go ahead.
Okay, day one. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. All right. So, like today, we'll be starting up with the lesson.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, regarding the yesterday's assignment, I didn't understand the question.
Which one?
Give three options to the user: mass, density, and volume. Then calculate mass, density, and volume.
All right. A2 or A3. This one. Like give three options to the user of mass, d, and volume, and then calculate the mass as entered by the user. So what you have to do is like you have to give the user the options like what he want to calculate. Like let's say he want to calculate mass, or let's say he want to calculate density. So if he select that if he want to calculate the density, then you must ask him for the mass and the volume, and then you can just calculate and give it there, right? How I'll just make it test program. Okay, cool. So let's just say that first of all your result is none, right? That is zero, nothing is there. Now you are taking an input from the user. That is his choice. So his choice will be an input, and you will ask like what to calculate, right? And then you will mention that then you can calculate mass, you can calculate density, you can calculate volume. So the user have to write mdv from these things, right? Whatever you want to calculate, he'll be writing up there. Okay, fine. So if the choice of the user is equals to mass, right? If it is such, then we'll say d equals float, and we'll ask him some input. So if we want to calculate the mass, then he must give us the input of the density, right? So input the density, and then we'll be taking up the volume, that too also in the float. And then the volume. Hope it is clear, right? Similarly, like once we have taken the things up, right? Now calculating the mass, what is the formula for calculating of the mass? Then the result would be the d multiplied by v, right? That is density multiplied by the volume will be giving you the mass, right? Now if the user has selected, if his choice is not mass, if his choice is density or like something like anything apart from the mass. So if it is density,
Okay, sir. Understood it, sir. Got it. I'll do it for you.
okay. So like okay, started.
Sir, actually, I wanted to ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one question of n into n plus 1 by 2, that sum, so calculating of the sum. So in that, that n into n plus 1 by 2, that formula was there. So in that I had a little confusion.
Okay, formula was wrong.
No, formula was correct, but I'm not sure if I did it right. The n into n plus 1 by 2.
So how
that
many
program.
how many numbers you took? Like what the value of n you take?
No, the question was to enter the number from the user, and then the sum has to be calculated. So
Mm-hmm.
sum equal to sum plus n, like we do. So like that only I did, but not sure if it's correct. So I mean that formula is there
Okay.
in that, but not sure if the formula I've applied correctly.
All right. We'll see now. Okay. So if let's just copy this. Result will be changed. This will be n by d, and this will be a volume.
Sumit, now whoever have asked that n into n plus 1, I think he would have typed n bracket n plus 1, because when we write it is the correct form, but when we type asterisk symbol should be used. I think he would have missed that.
Which one?
He can check. Just now whoever
Could
asked
be.
that n into n plus 1.
Yeah, I asked it. Anshu here. I asked it.
Where in
Okay.
this one assignment.
No, you whenever you write, normally you write as n bracket n plus 1 in a written. But when you type in a system, you should use this asterisk, as a multiplication system cannot understand n bracket thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you would have missed that asterisk. Put it because I did the same mistake. I got to know.
Yeah, I use bracket. Yeah, that's right. I use
Okay,
bracket.
yeah.
I didn't use bracket. Okay.
So you were
Right.
yeah, you are
Okay.
saying like for this one n plus 1, there should be one asterisk sign and
Asterisk.
then n
Correct.
plus
Correct.
1,
He would
right?
have missed that asterisk.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
can
yeah, right. That's right. I missed the asterisk. Yeah, I use bracket.
be. That can be there. Yeah, that would be
Okay.
a mistake there. Okay. Then, like after calculating all those things, we'll be giving the user the first two float values. That will be kind of 2f. Okay, so percentage of 0.2f, and then percentage of the result. What are you getting at? Okay, like that you can make this. So if I just run this, let's see what comes. So like we want to calculate mass, density, or volume, whatever. Let's say we want to calculate volume, so it will ask you to enter the mass. Let's say 5, density 2. So this is the result. Okay, so whoever doubt it was, I think it is clear. Alright, and then for this one, that is, let's say n is equals to 10, it should be like n, and then there will be multiplication, then into n plus 1 whole divided by 2. It is 55. So we want actually the integer one. So like this, okay, so we can multiply. Alright, so now any more doubts regarding the assignment? Oh no, there's someone waiting.
And actually, this one question was there of finding the largest and the smallest number from the given 5 number. Like that one question was there.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so but in that, I mean, the program actually what I was not understanding. I mean, it was getting little big. I mean, one take one number and compare with other 4. So I did it that way. I mean, what is the correct way of doing it? I was wanting to know this one. This one 5 inputs one. So like for greatest and smallest, we have to check, right? Every number is smaller than the other one, and then we can print that is the smallest. So like that, but in that way, the program is becoming quite long.
Okay. Alright. Okay.
Yeah, it was
So,
a big
like,
program. So I thought if there is any other small logic or something.
Okay, fine. So this was the question, right? The question number. Take 5
This
inputs
one
from
5
the user.
inputs. Yeah, right.
So like that is to be done like what we do when there's like 3 input from the user and then calculate it. like you can use this logic of and or, like you can do this. Let's say user has given x, y, z. Okay, in that case, what you'll see, whether this x is greater than y and also this y is greater than z. So you can apply and then you can check for this.
Yes, sir. I use this logic only, but the problem is in this logic the program is getting big because 5 numbers were given.
Hmm.
So that is the only way, right? Because the program was big. So I thought that, I mean, if there is any other shortcut or some function or something like that.
Yes, there is one. Let's just say that we are taking.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
It can be also done with the max or min function.
That is exactly I was trying to say. It can be done with that. So let's say this is an input, okay, and that is also, that will be a kind of float. Okay. So let's say this is a float we are having. Okay, this is x, or let it be a first number n1. So just copy this. Similarly, let us take n2, n3, n4, and n5. Okay, so now these are all the numbers I have taken the input, right? So numbers would be all this n1, n2, n3, n4, and n5. Okay, now like you are asked, I think, what is this, the question?
The greatest and the smallest one.
All right, so greatest, yeah, so greatest will be the maximum of these numbers.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
smallest
this is
will be
okay. Got it, sir. Got it.
Hello, sir.
yes.
There was one question. Write a code that prints hello if value is stored in number, hourly if zero is stored in number. I didn't understand that question.
Okay, 1 minute. So this is greatest and this is smallest. Yeah. Which question? Which question?
It says write a code that prints hello if value is stored in number, prints hourly if zero is stored in number.
Got it. Okay. So like it has been asked that print hello if value is stored in a number, and print howdy if zero is stored in a number. So basically you have to take a variable named as number, and then whatever is stored in there you have to print it accordingly. That, let's say that this is your number, and you are taking an input there. So enter and then give the user the options.
Okay, sir. I got it.
Like that.
I couldn't understand what the number meant. Like, I don't know it was a variable.
Okay. So like that you can go with it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any more doubts? Or shall we start with the list? Fine. So we'll start up with the list now. Okay. So basically lists are a collection of heterogeneous data types. Okay. And as a mutable starts with square brackets. Okay. So the key points to remember is that in the list starts with square brackets. Okay. Then the another important thing is it is mutable. Okay. Mutable in the sense that you can after making it or after defining this, you can even edit it. You can replace the things from there, right? In the list, an element you can be replaced. Like you can do editings in that, right? That is mutable exactly means. Okay. And it can hold duplicate values. That is the another important thing, that it can hold duplicate values. Duplicate values mean there can be repetitions of one particular number inside one list. Okay, so that can be done. Now let's say this is a numbers list, right? and I can write 1 2 3 4 5 again, 1 2 3 4 6 7. So I can just repeat of the elements over there. Okay, so it always start with a square bracket and it takes different type. It is not compulsory to take different type, but it can hold, it can keep a various data types there inside a list. Okay, so what can you, like when I say the data types, so let's say d type, a list of d type, and just say, as I said, you can enter a number, integer, a float, you can enter a complex, even you can go for a string. You can also make a list inside this. You can even go for a tuple, also for a set, and various data types actually. Okay, true, false, anything, right? So this all can be done inside a list, right? Everything, and even the duplicate elements can be entered there. So it is a collection of heterogeneous data types, okay, an ordered collection you can say, okay. It is ordered, why? Because whenever now I'll run this number, or whenever I run this d type, I'll get the elements printed in the same way as I have written it there, okay. So that is important, that it is ordered, it is mutable, and the values can be duplicated. Okay. Now this list you have seen in previous class, I think in yesterday itself, in the split one, right? So when we split any string, let's there be an str, and when we split any string, it's split into a list with its substrings. Okay, so that is a list. All right. So there are a lot of methods inside this list to work with that. Okay, so we'll go one by one with all the methods.
So could you just repeat the D type one? What did you do there? I didn't understand D type.
Okay, d type is a variable, or you can say a name of a list, right? And this is a list which is containing different data types. Like this is a number, sorry, this is an integer, this is a float, this is complex, the string, the list, the tuples, the sets, the booleans, and all these. So what I'm trying to say that a list can hold various data types. Okay, that is exactly I've made it as a d type. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, as I said, let's just hope that you went for marketing, right? Very basic one. Let's just say that you went for marketing and you made a list of elements you are going to market, right? You are going to shop it, let's say. So let's just say this is your shopping list asset, and you are having all the products or the things you are going to purchase. Let's say you are going to buy a TV, right? Or let's say anything, right? So let it be product 1 or P1, let it be P2, P3, and P4. Okay, so from the home, when you are going, you have made some of the list of 4 elements you are going to buy. Okay, similarly, you made all the prices, right? You made an estimation of the prices you are going to invest, right? So let's say your estimated price was, let's say for the product 1, you thought that it could come in some 56,000, right? Something like that. And for the product 2, let it be anything, 3, 9, 3, 4, and that's huge. Okay, so like these are the prices, right? And you have made that you will be going to buy some 4 products with your estimated price up here, right? So total number of products you are going to buy is the length of SL, that is 4. Okay, so you want to count anything, how much is there, so you can use that length, that is the total length of whatever the size you can say, right? We have seen it. Okay, so total number of products we are going to buy is 4. And what is our we can say estimated price we are going to invest is like the sum of all the investments, right? That is, we are going to approximately around 72,000, right? So that is like you do the sum. Now, what is the maximum like you can say what is the which product you are going to pay more, right? So that will be the max of EPN like that, right? We have seen in the above example how you can find the maximum and the minimums. Okay, now let's just say you went there and you bought all these things and you like got up here one with the product 3 where this was a slightly change in the uh, price. Okay, from your estimated price it was slightly changed. So let's say in case of 3475 it was 3600, right? So in that case what you'll do, your price actually changed. So how much changed? So from 3 4 yeah, so it is like 3600 minus 3475. So a change of rupees 125, right? So like how will you change your price up here? So what you can do is you can find like what is the index value of this. So in EP you can see, right, what is the index value of 3475. So it's in second position. So I will say that EP of 2 is equals to 3600, right? And okay, sorry, it's equals to 3600. Okay, and then I'll see my estimated price. So you can see there has been a replacement in there, right? So if you want to find any index value of any particular thing inside your list, you can use this index method. And then for replacing up the things, if you want to replace it, you can use this directly index position equals to and right of the value, it will be replaced. Okay, now similarly, okay, so let's say like returning to home, you got something more products in the like somewhere, right? And you bought them, right? So what you did is you made some more products over here, right? So that is you added some products in your shopping list. Okay, so to add anything inside a list, like if you want to add one particular element, then you have an option, you can use append, right? So let's say you have added one more element, that is P5, I think. Okay, P5, and you can see your SL now. So it is P5 also up there. So append what does, it adds up the value and at the last of the list. Okay, at the last of the list. Now similarly, let's just take another example. Okay, so let's say you went for you can take it example of a you went for just going up for a very basic like grocery shoppings and all. Okay, so you made a list of like whatever you are going to buy, just let's say this, and what I used to do, I'm just taking up my things over there, right? And what more, usually I take these things. So fine, okay, just take some. Okay, so let's just take like going for a grocery, it's not like grocery one. Okay, so like we are having, okay, I'm having some 3 elements in now, right, with me. And like suddenly let's just take an example, like my mom calls and say that you have to kindly bring this medicine, Prithvi, right? So now apart from all these, my priority will be to buy that medicine before, right? And then I can go with all these things, right? So in that case, what is like the priority means that now, apart from all these Maggie, Lays, and Oreo, I have to buy that medicine first, right? So that is in my list. That should be come at the first. That should come at very first element, right? So if you want to add anything, like we see in the append, or even if we just add some multiple elements in our shopping list, like let's say for adding multiple elements, you can use extend, right? So you can write like P6 or P7 or P8, any particular element you are taking up there, right? So for adding one element, you can use append. For adding multiple elements, you can use extend, and then you can run it. You can see your shopping list. It will be so extend and append. Add up the values, right? Append for one, extend for multiple, and they both work the same. Like they will both add on your values at the last of the list. Okay. But in case you are using a different method, that is insert. So what I said, that medicine is my priority among this Maggie, Lay's and Oreo. So what I'll do, I'll use that in the GRP. I'll insert. Okay, so there we'll use the insert function, and in the insert you have to define the index number first of all, like where you want to insert up your things. So let's just say this is for the priority one. So I'll be inserting it in the very first position, that is 0. And at 0, I want to insert medicine, right? And that's it, done. So see your GRP. Now you can see medicine as in the beginning as compared to the Maggie, Lay's and Oreo. So it will be slightly shifted in the right hand side, and then the medicine will be coming up there, right? So this is like of the three methods how you can add up your things inside a list. Clear? Now let's just say that you want to remove something, right? So in that case, you can use remove and just write up the thing. Let's say we are moving this Oreo, done. See your GRP, that is fine. Okay. And also there's one more method that you can use, this pop. So what this pop function does is will remove your element from the list, right? That is not the any element, right? It will remove the last element from your list. Okay, always the last one. And since it is an ordered one, so we know that what is being removed and what will be being removed, right? That is Lay's is being going to remove now. So we can see that this has been removed, right? If you see your GRP, and that is fine. Okay. Now let's just say take some other examples. So let's say this is my playlist, right? And just make it a short name. So just say this is my playlist, and let's take some of the singles named over there. So this is like my collections. So this I'm taking up there. Okay, let's take up the short forms. All right, so like I have a collection of these three mostly. So done with this. Okay, now let's just say that I'm having my brother. So let's just say he is also having the same interest on these things. Okay, he is having more interest on various things, but also he is having interest on these type of composer singers lists, right? Okay. So what I'll do is, like in the playlist, I'll create a copy of this playlist for him too, right? So in that case, what I'll say that I want a copy of a list. So for making a copy of a list, you can similarly take this as copy, yeah, and then run the function, and that will be done. So rspl will be the copy of the exact list, right? And then you can change over, and if you want with that, you can do it. Okay. So for making a copy of a list, you can do it like that. Okay. Similarly, if you want to clear a list, right? So let's just say that I'm done with this all, and I just want some new singers up there. So I'll be clearing up my list, right? Or once say that you have shopped all these things, right? You have bought all of these things. So now your groceries list will be cleared. So how to clear any list? How to empty any list? So in that case, you'll be just using clear the function, and if you run this GRP, it will be a clear list, right? So these are some of the very common method we use in the list, right? You can even count, you can find the index. Okay. So similarly, just take it for a help of list. Let me just see any method is being left or not. So insert, count, copy, pop, remove, reverse, sort. Okay, sort is there. So sort basically works like you just sort anything, right? That is simple one. Let's say this is your list. Okay, these are in the sorted way. And you want to sort this. Okay. So see your X, not like this. Okay, so just take it as. So let's say this is X and this is I think we have a lot of list up there. So just take any of the list. Okay, let's just create something new over there. So let's say Z and E, R, A, J, like that. Okay, so you have elements in an unordered way and you want to sort it. Right, that's very simple. Okay, and in that case, what you'll do is just you'll say this X dot sort. Okay, and we'll just print this X. So you can see the sorted way of your elements, right? Now if you want to sort up the things in a descending order, so in that case what you can write, these are basically that by default it is an ascending order. If you want to sort this in an descending order, so in that case you can write it like let's say this is your X and you are going to sort this, and okay, just write it as X dot sort first, and here in the reverse you can write it to be true, like you want to reverse it. Okay, so for you can use this reverse method also to reverse any list up there, right? And then you can just print this X and we'll see. So you can see the reverse sorting too. Okay, so common methods are this for any list. So I think that is clear. Any more methods left over there? Yeah. Okay. Yep. So like these are all the methods of a list. And finally, like when you have completed all of the functions with the list, like you can just delete any list with that, right? Let's say grp to be deleted, and I think there is number d type epsl number d type. So like you can delete up the things, and once you delete it and then again if you run the same thing, it will raise you an error that this is not defined because you have deleted it. Okay, so I think that is clear. Any doubts in the list? Questions in the list? Okay, so we'll see some of the questions now. We'll practice something. Okay. In a list, all these things can be done, right? And this can be used for storing up the things like uh, for the passwords, or because password cannot be unique for everyone, right? It can be duplicate. You can't say that password can be unique. Okay. So it can be duplicate for anyone. So in that case, you can use this thing. Mostly a question come like many times questions are like what can be stored for making a unique username, what kind of data type to be used. So in that case you'll be using sets, right? And for that similarly, all right. So now we'll also see the loops and all. Okay, and we'll continue with that too. Alright. So I think list is cleared, right? There is nothing much. And one important module is there, that is sys, right? And with this sys, you can like get a lot of things. Okay. So like let's say you want to get the size of any particular uh, integer or complex or string, like whatever the number of bytes it is having. So like you can write sys dot get size of. So always remember any integer size is always 28, right? And for a float it's 30, 24, right? 32 is for complex. So get size of, let's say 34j, so it's 32. Similarly, so these are the size in the bytes it is having, and it changes for this. This is str, this is ing, right? String name, anything. So it just changes accordingly. So by default, for this integer, float, and this what is this? Your complex, right? It remains the same. Okay. Now moving up with some of the important questions in a list, right? So a list can be used for checking the file extensions, right? How? Let's say you are checking a file extension, right? It is very common program of file extension. So let's just say that your extension you are going to allow the user is PNG, is JPG, is like JPEG, or let's say so totally a video format, image format you can say, right? So these are basic the image format what an image could have, the PNG, JPG, and all, right? So let's just say that you are taking a file, right? You are entering a file name, let's say f name, and what we'll do after your input, we'll say that we are going to split it by the dot. And why by the dot? We'll see why by the dot. Okay. So let's say that if the length of f name is greater than equals to 2. So if it is such, then we'll see for the extension. So fname extension would be fname of -1 dot the lower, right? And why I'm doing so, I'll let you see why it is such. Now if this fname extension lies in this okay, this in I have forgotten to explain. Okay, fine. So if this external, or let's say for the not external, the extension lies in this ex, right? If this lies in the extension, then just print upload successful. Or just say upload failed, right? And if the name, or if the input is not a proper input, then what will say? So if it is not having any extensions, then we'll say the file name, the file is the file has have no extensions. Okay, so you can write the file have no extension. right? And what are these things? Let's just run and then we'll see how it is. Okay, running up. So let's say that you are taking any file name. Let's say this is book and enter. So I have got that is file is not having any extension, and that is correct, right? Because we haven't gave any of the extensions over there. Now let's just again run this. Let's say this is book dot PDF. So this is upload failed, right? Why upload failed? That you should also have to mention that why upload is failed. What are the proper formats you can use? But I'm not going with all. You can go with that, right? So let's just say if we are running this and we are saying this is book dot png. So that in that process, this is upload successful, right? And what are the things now? Let's say what is the file name? So file name is book and the png, right? What is the file fname extension? So extension is png. You can see, right? So what is exactly this f name of -1? So I think this you know, right? That is -1 means the last element or the element, the first element from the last, right? So we did it, right? And when we'll run this, we'll be getting the things. So why I have used this greater than equals to 2, right? Greater than equals to 2 is that I'll be splitting up the things from this dot, right? But when I didn't find any dot, but if I didn't find any of the dots, I cannot actually split it there, right? So if it is not split it up, then the length of the elements will not be equals to or greater than the 2, right? So only if it is being splitted, then we'll go here, right? And after coming here, we'll see, uh, we'll take the extension as the last dot the lower. And let's say why we are giving it a lower. If we run it and we say this book dot png, so it is taking upload successful. Why? Let's say if we are not writing this lower and running this. So although we write this png over there, but if we see the f name, we'll find it to be the capital or upper cases over there, and that is not exactly in our extensions. So for that, what we are doing is whatever the input will come, we'll be making it lower first of all, right? And then we'll store it there. So that is now if you write jpg dot png anything right up there, so that is only the last part is going to matter up there. So we see your f name, it will be jpg png, okay? So like that you can make it there. So this is a very common program if you write it with that context, okay? So I hope this is clear to you guys, right? Okay, similarly we'll see much of the questions with this one, right? Now let's say you are making you have a lot of numbers over there, you want to separate the you can say the positive numbers or the negative numbers from there, right? So for that, now we'll be going up to see the loops, okay? Now loops are basically iterations or you can say repetitions, right? So these are actually what you instead of printing a same thing or instead of going for a same code, you apply loops over there. That is, you specify a statement or a condition for how long it should be repeated up, right? Like that. So there are two kind of loops, while loops and if loops. In Python you have two kind, okay? So in while loop, you actually know that not sorry in while loop, the loop whatever will be running or the iteration what will be going up is like not known, right? You don't know actually how much time you have to run it. You give a condition, and until the condition till the condition is true, it will be running up there, it will be iterating, right? And in the for loop, you exactly know like how much time you want to run your program, right? So that is structure of a loop, right? The basic concept of the loop. So we can say loop are generally termed as repetitions, right? So these are used to repeat a block of codes until a condition is met, right? And then condition you are going to give. So let's say this is let's say I equals 0 and we are using while. So I'm saying while I is less than 5, print hi. Welcome to loops, right? So while I is less than 5. Now what is being done here exactly? So I is now 0. It will come inside this while and it will check whether this I is less than 0 or not, less than 5 or not. So 0 is less than 5 is a correct statement and here the result comes as true. So once it is true, it will execute this statement, right? Then what after this, right? Every time this I will be 0 itself, right? We have to change the value of I. Then what we can do is we can write I is equals or I plus equals 1. We can write as plus equals 1. Instead you can also write as I equals to I plus 1 if you want like to be writing up like this. You can write on this or also this is the same method. You can use this also that I plus equals 1. So what will happen? This I will come inside this and it will be printing up welcome to the loops. After this, I will be changed that it will become 1 and this 1 is greater than 5, less than 5 and similarly 2, 3, 4 and as soon as 5 come here, this condition become false and it will be coming out of the loop. That is how while actually works. So run this and you can see your loop will be run for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? That is welcome to loops and like that. Okay, that is how it is done, right? And if you also want to print this I, so you can see the number of things. That is, first it is running for 0, then for the first, then second, third, fourth. So the number coming up there, and then the outputs coming up, right? Similarly, let us say that as soon as you reach the second, as soon as you reach the third statement or the third iterations, right? As soon as your loop enters in the third stage, you just come out of the loop. Don't go for printing all these 3 and 4. So in that case, what we can do, we actually want to break the loop, right? So we have to use this break keyword there, right? So what we'll say that after the printing, we'll check that if your I value becomes to be 3, as soon as it becomes 3, you just break it there. And if it is not 3, then continue with the same thing what you are going up. Right, run this and you'll see that this is just ending up at 3. Okay, sorry, it should be 2. So you are getting is 0, 1 and 2. Okay, now let's say you want to skip this 2, sorry, yeah. So you want to skip this 2 and you want to get it printed everything as it is, like you want to print 0, you want to print 1, you want to print 3 and you want to print 4. So you don't want to print this 2. So in that case, you can skip this thing, right? So for skipping it, you have to use this continue. So what continue does, it will stop the current iteration, right? It will skip the current iteration what the value you are giving it there, right? It will skip up there, right? And will continue with the rest. And the break, what break does, it will stop even if the loop condition is not completed or not satisfied. So wherever you apply break, it will just come out of the loop from there, right? That is the only difference between the continue and the break. So let's just say that we want to break at we want to skip the value of the 2. So what we can do is in this I equals to 0 while I is less than 5, printing is fine, okay, and then we can initialize this value here itself. So let's say this, and as soon as becomes 2, we'll break it. Okay, let's just take it from there. So here you have to continue, and I plus equals 1 if it is 2, and then continue. If it is not, then go for printing of the things. Run this. Yeah. So 1, 3, 4, and 5, like 2 will be skipped on. If we say starting from this 0, so it is coming up as 1. Yeah, okay, fine. So you can see this 2 has been skipped, right? So in place, we want to skip this 3 now for now. So this is like 1, 2, 4, and 5. So what is being happening up here? There is for first it is 0, 0 is less than 5, then we are just initializing 0 as 1, and they are checking that if I is equals to 1. So if it is equals to 1, then it's fine, we'll go up, print up the things. If it is equals to 2, we'll again go and print. If it is equals to 3, we'll continue that. We are not going to print this, right? And straight away we are just going up here again, right? And then 4, and then 5 it's coming. So this is the process of how you can go with the loops, right? How you can go with this while things. So I think it is clear, right? You can even use this thing to print up a table. So let's just say that this is your I equals to 1 now. So let's say while I is less than equals to 10, and you are saying you want to print I, right? So you want to print it as I multiplied by.
Okay.
So let's say we are writing the table of 10. So 10 multiplied by I equals, let me put it as %d. So kindly mute whoever has unmuted. So 10 multiplied by %d is equals to %d, right? And should you want to ask anything? I'm muting, actually it's making some noise. Okay, so there was some more noise coming up. So 10 multiplied by this %d and equals to %d. So we'll give up the values. That is, first %d value should be I, and the second %d value should be 10 multiplied by the I. Right? I think this is clear to you guys. And I plus equals to be 1. So you can see this 10. Okay, let's take it as good one. So 10 multiplied by 1 to be 10, and then so on for the table things, right? So what we have done is we have written a number, then the x and the %d, and we have satisfied the value. That is, first I, it should be the I value, and then the value should be I multiplied by the 10, and then the values. Okay, so these are the things you can use up with the while loops. Okay, so yep, any questions with this loops and the list? If you have any questions, you can ask it there.
So can you just tell once again the difference, continue and break? I mean, a little bit I got confused there.
Okay, so see, what break does is you write a statement that is I is less than 5. Okay, you wrote a statement that I is less than 5, and you have used that as soon as I becomes 2, you are going to break, right? You are going to come out of the loop. So what break does is whenever you apply break at any certain point, even if the condition is not fulfilled, right? Even if the total condition of the loop is not fulfilled, it will just come out of the loop wherever you want to apply the break, where you have applied it. And the continue, what happens wherever you have applied this continue, right? What will happen that the loop will continue to go on, right? It will not break actually. So for whatever the condition you have applied continue, it will only skip that part and will continue for completing the loop. Okay. And in the break, it will just come out of the loop. It will not continue for then again. Clear?
Got it, sir. Got it.
All right. So that is, I think, it's very clear to all of you. All right. So today we'll get the assignments. Any questions regarding this list? Right. All the methods, I think it's clear. To add on anything, you can use append. You can use extend. You can use this. What is this called as insert. Okay. And you can, for replacing, you can just go for the index numbers and replace it. Right. You can sort a list in ascending and descending orders. You can find the sum. You can find the maximum, minimum, median, and all those things. Okay. And data type is very clear to you. So today, yeah, tomorrow we'll be going up with the for loops, the tuples, and the sets too. Okay. So tomorrow we'll complete these things. All right. Let's stop your video.